obviously there's things that people love about the drum roasting. I mean, it's traditional, but as I was saying earlier, like there's a bit of being married to tradition, married to the idea of like this is the way we've always done it. It was something that we overcame as we were able to get our hands on the air motion roaster and play with it, and really started thinking about, well, what else could we do? And that's really what it is that the drum roaster, while everybody has a special place in their heart for it, there's things that it can't do that the air motion allows us to do. This allows us to have a lot more detail, allows us to get more involved with it, and you don't ever have to worry about, for example, burns. Like that would be one of the pet peeves about a drum roaster, is that no matter your level of mastery, you're always going to have some on the outside that receive burns and things, whereas each of these beans is individually roasted on a pillow of air, right? So it has consistency all the way around, no burning. It just gives us a level of control that we could only guess at with the drum roaster. The reason why we, instead of upgrading to a larger drum roaster, and the reason why we picked this, the simple short answer would be because we got to play with it first. So because we were able to play with it, we're able to see what it was. I think that may be a hurdle for some people in diverting from tradition, traditional barrel roaster.
It is an education.
But it's also sensory, it's tactile, it's a kinesthetic kind of experience, right? So having the being able to touch it, smell it, see it, hear it, all that sort of thing at the same time does a lot. Now that's not the longer answer. I'd say that's what got us over the hump. But in seeing the amount of control that we were able to have with it, that really was it. Like being able to see, again, the consistency, seeing that it got over a lot of those issues like burning and stuff that you would have with the drum roaster. Scorching, and then of course being much more environmentally sound. Our clients have definitely told us that they stick with us. They don't always know the magic that goes behind the bean, unfortunately, right? I love to nerd out and tell people about our AMR or whatever, right? But a lot of them just want coffee and they know that it's really good coffee. So there's that. But for those that were with us before with the drum roasting and then the AMR, all noted the difference. Again, that clean flavor, the pronouncement of the flavor of the beans. All of that. And again, for those who have not asked and have only come after we've used the AMR, always refer to, they're like, they don't know why it tastes like better coffee, but they always comment on like this tastes so much more clean is the word I hear all the time. So it really does, again, being able to see it as you're roasting, being able to glance down into it, allows us to both visually see, you can hear first crack coming on, you can smell it, obviously. And so all of that adds to when we're first getting a profile on a bean, we can also then adjust. For example, we've had a Kenyan that we do a light and a dark version of the same bean. When we're doing a cold brew, when we're roasting for cold brew, we go for darker, and when we're roasting for hot brew, obviously for a pour over, what have you, we go for a lighter. So about 408 for a light roast, 408 Fahrenheit for a light roast, about 424 for a medium dark roast on the same Kenyan, and that's what the air motion roaster allows us to do. So we can just tweak those. And again, as I was mentioning to you earlier, I like that it both has an automation setting and it has a manual override, so I can personally dial it in and adjust it, again, in a way that you couldn't really do with the barrel roaster.
In real time.
In real time. So the recipes themselves can be quite varied. We can get very different results of the same bean, as anyone could, but there's less, I would say from a commercial approach, there's less risk in experimenting with this because you can see what you're doing. Whereas with a barrel roaster, you kind of just have to test each batch and what have you.
Predict where
Yeah, exactly. Right. You kind of like set a milestone and then hope you get there. Exactly. This one allows a lot more real-time access and stuff. To say that we've never made any mistakes would be incorrect, but there's far less. Right. Yeah. As far as the bean itself, I can have the same whole beans and prepare them in the different ways and still have it consistent across. For example, one of the things I do love about that Kenyan cold brew, it is roasted darker. The Kenyan Lenana has definitely a chocolate bend to it, right? And I typically do just black coffee myself. This cold brew, though, I will put in just a dollop of cream, and that brings forward a flavor that makes it malty, a bit like a Guinness, right? So it's it's fantastic, right? And I can get that same flavor with that same bean at that roast if I were to brew it, right? If I were to hot brew it, right, into a pour over. And then, again, speaking to the way that the AMR brings flavor forward or changes it, when we have the lighter roast, we stop at 408. It does not have that same malty. It has still like a bit of chocolatey notes to it, but it's definitely brighter. Has a more of like I want to say caramelly and fruity aspect to it. But again, we always had something that was in between those two whenever we used the barrel roaster before, regardless of the tweaking that we did. So we do a lot of wholesale, and so, but for the discerning clients that like to taste what we're doing, yeah, I can bring forward, like I mentioned the Kenyan before, right? For a while, we were doing it all dark. And then we experimented with we could really bring the flavors forward a little bit more if we went a little lighter on it. And then we showed it to clients as a pour over, and it was amazing, right? So you have on the, and that's just what you're asking about, is like the small ways in which you were able to tweak even the same bean and get a different flavor out of it, which is not something I experienced with the barrel roaster before. To be fair to barrel roasters, if you were trying to have those flavors unify into one, sure. But if you want something where you can really get all the flavors to pop, and AMR does it in a way that a barrel roaster was not previously able to do. I want something with a fermented flavor here and earthy flavor here, and then I want my bright citrusy flavor over here. I can have all of that in the same cup or whatever, because again, it doesn't meld so much as roast them individually. Each individual bean is on a pillow of air as it's roasted. So yeah. I think that it's like with anything, like learning a new sport. You can find it. It's just going to be in a different way of attaining it, right? So you can roast darker. You can roast at higher temperatures with the AMR than I would dare do with a traditional barrel roaster, right? Exactly, and you can also control the development. So we're getting technical here a little bit. So for the nerds out there like myself, you can control development time better. So you can get more maturity as you get to first crack. We'll say 375 Fahrenheit. I can go from 100% on the heater, dial it down to 90% at about 380, 385, dial it down another 10% as they're getting closer to, let's say, a 405 or 410, depending on what I'm going for.
Bring the rate of rise down.
Exactly. So I bring the rate of rise down, so that way you get the similar to the S curve, which we don't have S curves, right? But like but you're still getting that development, so you still get that maturity, right? And again, I mean, there's going to be fuller body flavor in our Kenyan versus like our Brazilian. You know, I mean, there's something to be said about the bean, obviously, but the roaster. Once you've learned how to work with it and stuff, you can really bring forward any flavor that you want. Yes, absolutely. There is something about it that well-roasted coffee is definitely in the technique of the roaster. So I don't want to take that away from anybody roasting anywhere. There's definitely technique to be done. Good coffee takes art and passion. This roaster, though, gives a clean taste to the coffee that I've not experienced in any other way, right? So, and I've even been embarrassed in telling some of our clients sometimes, like I'd like to tell you it was all me, but a lot of it is really honestly this machine. Like it allows us to roast in a way and a uniform consistency that just gives it a kind of like, it's the difference between drinking tap water and purified water, you know what I mean? It's that purified water taste, right? It's that, it lets all the other flavors come forward, so less of the burning, off-kiltered flavors. And it also keeps the, for a little bit of chemistry, it helps keep the sugar chains intact a bit more. And again, because of the water misting that helps cool it off before it gets into the cooler in the agitator, that helps it get to a cooler temperature faster, so you can kind of freeze it right where you need it to be. The response time for any issues that we've had has been absolutely great. The team in South Africa is answering at times that are, I'm sure, quite late for them, quite early for us. But it's been immediately, also Rick and the team here in the States have been really quite responsive. A lot of times same day service, if not within like 48 hours or so. Hardware's been great. The warranty's been fantastic for us. Anytime we needed a replacement part or anything like that, first would be troubleshooting, and solutions have been found every single time. I'd say A+ on all the services, parts, things like that have been fantastic. I'd say buy anything but an AMR. I want it all to myself. No, I would absolutely recommend an AMR. I would go over the pros and cons with a friend and be like, look, do you want something that tastes kind of like a campfire? Then do a barrel roaster. You know, like, I mean, there's something there to love, right? But if you're looking for something to have clean, if you want control over your flavor, if you want to be a little bit more discerning about the flavors and the notes that you bring forward, if you're looking to roast for more than yourself and you're really trying to like get it out there and stuff like that, I would absolutely cheerlead an AMR.